Hello gamers and future friends. I thought I would share my top 10 games of 2023. However, I've never really agreed with these lists in the past. Every year, every list is the same. Just how one rearranges them is what varies. I think a majority of games would agree these games are the best games of 2023. Now, not to confuse anyone, obviously these are great games and they all deserve to be in the top 10. However, if I'm being honest, I don't care how you orientate these to make your top 10 list. I really don't need, people telling me how any of these games were good. We already know they were good. I mean, do you really think any gamer missed these releases? You pass someone on the street and it's like, hey, dude, did you put Spider-Man 2 on your list? It's like, yeah, I did. Did you put it on your list? And did you put it on yours and yours and yours and yours and yours? And it's just, it's just annoying. So here's my top 10 list where it is more likely that you have missed these games, which I think is a little bit more important. Games have a tendency to be in the shadow of big releases, especially with games like Baldur's Gate that require hundreds of hours of commitment and can take months for one to move into something else. In that time, it's very easy for an amazing game to go unnoticed just because of timing. Well, my goal is hopefully to shed some light on these missed games. Now, I started my channel late in the year and didn't record any gameplay of some of these games, so I will just play the portions of the trailer. So without further ado, here is my top 10 list. At number 10, we have Morning Commute. Now, before you rush to the comments to shit on my list screaming bullshit how did a side scroller make a top 10 list, I want to point out one factor of gaming that I take to be the most important, and that is interaction with my friends. Morning Commute was from an indie developer who goes by the name The Soda Fountain, who puts out hilarious Genshin Impact content I recommend you to see. I'll put a link in his channel in the description. Morning Commute has a special place on this list with the connection it allowed me to grow between me and my friends. There was a constant battle for the top spot. For 2 to 3 weeks straight, it was a full-fledged competition, waking up to new records every day with classic trash talking that strengthened our bond as a group. If you're interested in having your own competition with your friends, check out Morning Commute, link in the description. At number 9, we have Chants of Sennaar. Holy shit, what a game. I was supposed to have a video of Chants of Sennaar, but due to some family troubles and taking a few weeks off, I never got around to it. Chants of Sennaar is a language learning game where you careen through a world with language transcribed into symbols, and the game requires you to fill out your journal to be the moderator between different regions of society. As someone who is fascinated by language, I took this game as serious as one can. Not to mention, as an American who married a Turkish woman, learning a language is almost a part of my life now. A quick joke, what do you call someone who speaks 3 languages? Trilingual, 2 languages, bilingual, 1 language? American. Chants of Sennaar was released around the same time as Sea of Stars, Armored Core, and Lies of P. This could have easily fallen under many people's radars. If you are one who has missed it, please go back and give it a once through. It is the definition of originality, and I am so happy I had the chance to play it. At number 8, we have The Master's Pupil. The Master's Pupil is a game that was released at the right time for me. I won't go into detail, but 2023 was one of the hardest years my family has endured, with surgeries, deaths in the family, relationship troubles, the list goes on. One day I came home from work and my wife was on her phone and told me about a game that was hand-painted and that she thought I would like. After watching the video, I immediately downloaded the game and was not expecting what emotions were to come. The Master's Pupil is a hand-painted indie game that takes you through puzzles, with each puzzle rewarding the player with a beautiful painting painted by none other than the magnificent Claude Monet himself. To anyone interested in hearing more, I will put a link to my review of The Master's Pupil in the description below. At number 7, we have a strong tie between 2 very peaceful games, Smooshy Come Home and Mail Time. No one can argue the similarities between these 2 games. The art style, the objectives, the world design, the gameplay, everything. If I'm being honest, I thought they were from the same developer. Both Smooshy and Mail Time offered me a break from other games, ones with constant deaths, failures, failed objectives, lack of skill, and many other frustrating situations. But Smooshy and Mail Time both provided me with a nice peaceful journey anyone could sit back and relax to. I am a big fan of the Souls genre, and am constantly playing through various Souls-like games. To anyone familiar with this genre, you can understand my frustration and what effect these games may have on the brain. There comes a time when my brain will hit a stopping point where all hope is lost, my mentality is at an end, and I just want to crawl in a corner and cry. It is games like Smooshy and Mail Time that allow me to get away from all that frustration and chaotic heart-racing gameplay, where I can ease all my pain, wander through a world at my own pace without any risk. If you are someone who is possibly like me, who may get frustrated and wants to ease the pain, I highly recommend these two games, as I promise you cannot play them without smiling. Coming in at number 6, we have Blasphemous 2. The best way I can explain why this is on my top 10 list is because it earned it. I've played a lot of games where I would play it, have some feedback, I'd go to the discussions and see that everyone is on the same page. Everyone agrees how this game can be improved. Then a sequel would come out and still have the same issues as the first game. There's nothing wrong with this. The game is like a developer's baby. How they choose to raise it up is up to them. However, to anyone who played through Blasphemous 1, I think we can all agree there were bugs, bogus mechanics, glitched achievements, potential in places the developer may have missed. Now, what made me put Blasphemous 2 on this list is it is clear the developer took all the feedback from the community and listened. Everything from Blasphemous 1 that I disliked or could see it being better was fixed in Blasphemous 2. It was just amazing, and I thank the developer for that. And at number 5, we have my go-to on the Steam Deck, Sea of Stars. To anyone who watched my previous videos, you might recall me saying, we have my least favorite combat system in all video games. But something about the art style, the atmosphere, story, collectibles, interactions with the characters allowed me to ignore the turn-based combat style and enjoy this masterpiece. Sea of Stars is a turn-based RPG where you venture out into the world with your best friend Garl. You meet a variety of characters along the way who join your team to take down the Fleshmaker. Sea of Stars went on to win multiple awards, and I'm sure a lot of people out there will most likely have this on their list, but with this being the second game from the indie developer, and for how truly of amazing this game really was, I think a spot on this list is justified. Sea of Stars is easily one of the best indie games of 2023. And at number 4, we have the very last game that will ever come from Me Games, Shadow Gambit: The Cursed Crew. As someone who was a huge fan of Desperados 3 and Shadow Tactics, both Blades of Shogun and Aiko's Choice, it breaks my heart that a developing team can be this talented, put out 4 overwhelmingly positive games, and still be considered a flop. Desperado, Shadow Tactics, Shadow Gambit are arguably 3 of the best tactic games in my opinion, with the game relying on stealth and well thought out tasks to achieve a goal. It had a recipe for a great game and it will greatly be missed. The problem is there aren't any replicas that I can look forward to. The closest I can think of is Stargate Timekeepers, but with all the delays, lack of entertaining gameplay or trailers, it's starting to not look good for this genre's future. So if you are one of the lucky ones and can still go into these 3 games blind, I highly recommend picking up all 3 of these amazing games and appreciate them for as long as you can. And to the team of Me Games, I hope you all live happy lives and the community will greatly miss you. Alright, enough of the tears. Alexa, please remind me why I've been angry every year. Souls-like games not able to cross a 7 rating is a phenomenon that will forever baffle me. If IGN gave it an 8, the community will give it a 7. If the community gives it an 8, IGN would give it a 7. The motto for Souls-like games should be go for the bronze, because apparently it is impossible for any of them to break that barrier. Until our number 3 game came along, you all may know it as Lies of P. Now, I understand Lies of P can be argued it was too big, too good of a game to include on this list. As I said, this list is to capitalize on games you may have missed, and with 1 million copies sold, I think it's fair to say a lot of people played this game. However, because this is the first game by the developing team of NeoWiz, and this is the first Souls-like that has ever truly did what From Software can do, I think a spot on this list fits just right. When I first played Lies of P, I honestly thought it was a FromSoft game that was released under a pseudonym, like an author would to truly test its fans to see if they really like their work or if they're just a brand name. Lies of P is the first Souls-like that ever gave me the feeling of playing a From Software game. The combat was polished, the world was unique, the story was well told to where an illiterate person such as myself could follow and understand. Everything about this game was incredible. In my opinion, the difficulty in Souls games is the pinnacle of what a difficulty can be in a game, and I can't believe Lies of P was able to match it so perfectly. To anyone who hasn't played this game, I don't know what the fuck you're waiting for, please go play this game. And at number 2, we have one of my favorite indie games of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, Bramble the Mountain King. Bramble the Mountain King really snuck up on me. I was browsing the Steam store, randomly came across it and thought, well, this looks cool, and was not prepared. You and your sister fall into a hole, and then you are presented in a sort of Alice in Wonderland scenario. You careen through the world until your sister is eventually captured and you need to rescue her. The world is filled with boss encounters, platforming, enemies that require stealth to avoid. The main highlight of this game is that it held nothing back. I believe developers sometimes think adding sadistic behaviors into games could hurt their chances with the audience. This game tells you stories that still haunt me to this day. There are darker things I could mention, but it would ruin some major story arc in the game. To anyone interested in more, I will put a link in the description below to my review. And the greatest game of 2023, regardless of what game you compare it to, with as much enthusiasm as I can express. Gamers and future friends, you all know what it is. Hi-Fi Rush is easily my game of the year, with every game included, regardless of what game you compare it to. This game made me laugh for my entire playthrough, with voice acting and dialogue that you just can't beat. I mean, come on, Chai, Peppermint, Macaroon, Cinnamon, and Corsica are easily 5 of the best characters I've seen in video games. I lack the words to explain it, but you just have to play it to experience the bond these characters have. Like, even the game's antagonist was hilarious. Every character was just perfect. Gameplay never got boring or repetitive. There are constant builds you can try, new moves to learn, every mission has replay value, and with 71 achievements, this game will keep you occupied for a while. One of the joys in playing Hi-Fi Rush is the feeling it was able to capture while playing it. Hi-Fi Rush captured that feeling of how I used to feel playing video games as a kid. I guess the only disappointment with this game is that apparently it flopped, which sucks. The best game of the year and it flops, which makes me question will we ever see a sequel or another game like this one, but why would they if it's just going to lose money? How a game like Hi-Fi Rush can flop is beyond me. It just shows how little I know about the financing that goes into a game. To all the developers who worked on this, I'm sorry more wasn't received for this amazing gift of a game you have brought us. I hope you all know how good of a game you made, and thank you for the opportunity to play it. To anyone who may have missed this back in February, please go back and experience this masterpiece. I promise you will not regret it. And that's the list, gamers and future friends. I hope you all have a wonderful day.